Hey guys, it's Kristen with Kristen Life Acres. In today's video, I'm going to share with you some ideas that you might want to consider when choosing your bug out location. This video is going to cover when, where, who, what, why, and how. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So when I mentioned the who, when, where, what, and why, basically this is going to go over when. So like if blank happens, that's the time we all know we're going to bug out. You don't want to be the only one in your family or in your group that makes that decision. So you want to already have the parameters laid out so that you know if X, Y, and Z happen, 2 out of 4 of these things happen, or 3 out of 5 of these things happen, that it's time to go. You just need to know what your blank is, what your X, Y, Z is. Where is obviously the location. So we'll go over each one of these. Who is coming with you? Very important. This is not a last minute decision. You need to figure this out now while you're making your plan. How? How will you get there? How long will you stay there? Why? Why are you going? Hopefully it's because your current bug-in location, basically your home, is not safe. And so you want to know what you're going to do when you get there. It can't just be like, well, Aunt Sarah's farm, it's great, and we've got some guns and ammo and some food storage, or Joe Bob over 50 miles in the country has a great location, and we're just going to go there and see what happens. You need to know what you're going to do when you get there, and each person needs to have a job. What will you bring with you? So not only what will you bring with you in your bug out vehicle, which you'll need to figure out how you're getting to your location, but in your bug out bag, which I will leave a link above. I have a YouTube video on what I have in my bug out bag. So let's just get started. It's going to be different depending on where you live and how far away your bug out location is. If it's pretty far away, you're going to need earlier signs that you need to leave, whether, or if it's a little bit closer and you can get there quicker, then, you may have more additional items on your list that require to happen before you leave. So whether it's civil unrest, whether it's they're closing your streets, public roads, borders, you don't want to wait until people are at your door knocking, trying to get in or take your supplies. That's too late. So you need to figure out your when. Okay, where, the location. It's very important. When you're looking for a bug out location, you need to look for rural land. Obviously you don't want to be in the suburbs. You want to know, how is it zoned? Are you going to be able to build something? A small structure, a large structure, a home, even if it's just a temporary structure to keep you out of the weather. They're going to come down on people probably harsher than they ever have, because they're going to be looking for places to infiltrate, and you want to make sure that you at least are zoned properly. It's not necessary, but probably a good idea. You want to look for diverse territory. So is it mountainous? You really don't want it to be all flat, because it's hard to keep all of the borders and surroundings watched if you're on flat land, which I'm in Florida and there is a lot of flat land. However, there are some spots where you can get up a little higher in elevation. The higher you have in elevation, not only if the property tends to flood, or you happen to get torrential rainstorms, or God forbid a hurricane, you want to be able to get to higher ground. Also, when you're at higher ground, you can scope out the area around you and make sure that no one is trying to rush the property or infiltrate your camp. Ideally, not necessary, but ideally, if you could find property that is near or next to, like butting up to, a national park, national rainforest, there is property available. Yes, it is going to be more difficult to find, but then you know that in the future there won't be neighbors or, commercial or anything going in that's going to give you close by. You just don't know if someone builds what their beliefs are. And another thing on that subject is if there are neighbors, even if they're an acre away or 5 acres away or however the property is set up, it would be good to go meet them and see what page they're on. Are they going to be an asset to you, or are they going to be a rival? Are they preppers? Are they red? Are they blue? What are their beliefs? And those are really good things to know. Let's see, what else? Does it have a mild climate? It's much easier, even though a lot of people don't like to be hot, and I understand that in extreme heat, you can suffer different ailments, heat exhaustion, sunburn, that kind of thing. However, it is a lot easier to tolerate hot weather than it is freezing cold blizzard. So a lot of the southeast is a more mild climate. Does it have natural resources? That's a must. I mean, if it has trees for timber, for building and for fires? Does it have a diverse wildlife for hunting, your food sources? Does it have a viable water source? Does it have a spring, fresh spring, a lake, a river, a well, anything like that? I wanted to also address something about the location. Basically how to obtain property for your bug out location. Obviously you can purchase land, but it really should be bought outright if possible. You want to be out of as much debt as you can, and not only that, if you still owe a mortgage or money towards the person that you purchased the land from, you don't really own that land, and at any point they could take it back. So purchasing land is good. If there's any way to do it cash or outright, that's best. You can also lease land. A lot of people do land leases for hunting and that sort of thing, but if you lease a piece of property for a certain time frame, it can't be taken back from you, and you can establish a bug out location there. If you are not in, which I know a lot of us are not, in the financial position to just go out and lease a piece of property or buy a piece of property, you can reach out to family members. Do you have any friends, family that maybe live somewhat nearby but in a better location farther in a rural area? Maybe they have the ideal bug out location and they'd be willing to let you guys come. I say you guys depending on who's coming, which we'll get into next. If you don't have any friends or family nearby that kind of have the same mindset as you or are willing to let you come and kind of homestead there temporarily, you can look into prepper groups. They may already have a location picked out, so somebody may have already purchased the property or they have figured out a way to get a piece of property. However, if you're going to do that, you really must have a skill to bring to the table, and we'll go over those as well. But if you have a skill to bring to the group, then it's going to make you more of a necessary member of the group. Also, you can network. So talk to people you come in to contact with on a daily basis. That might be your kid's teacher, your local butcher, your barber or hairstylist, whoever you come in contact with on a daily basis or frequently might be a good idea to see what they're going to do. Okay, so let's move on to who. Who is coming with you? These have to be, if they're not family or friends, they need to be very, very trusted people, like I said, in some kind of group format or, setting. You don't want to show up somewhere and say, hey, I've got a year's worth of food and 5,000 rounds of ammo and this gun and that gun, and I've got this and that. You don't want to do that, because until you trust the person completely, you do not want to give away any information about what you have, because the further you let somebody in and let them know more about you, your life, and what you've stockpiled, it could actually be a negative for you, and they could actually come and take your stuff. So you want to be very careful with who you bring with you. Next question, how? How will you get there? How will you get to your bug out location? Are you planning to walk? Are you planning to take some kind of electric bike, scooter, bicycle? Do you have a car that will get you to where you need to go? And you need to think about and consider if that car were to break down or you were no longer safe in that vehicle. So these are all things that you need to consider. Do you have the fuel to get the vehicle or the charge to get the electric vehicle to the location? You need to have a full plan on how to do these things ahead of time. When it's happening is not the time to make the plan. So please write this all down, really think about it, and make sure that you know how you're going to get there and that you have what it takes to get there. So if you're taking a vehicle, you need fuel. If you're taking something electric, you're going to need some kind of portable battery charger. These are all very important. The why. Why are we going there, and what are we going to do when we get there? You can't just show up and hope for the best and think it's all going to work out and it's going to be rainbows and puppy dogs and you're going to live this great life in the woods. This is your last resort to keep some kind of integrity in the lives of the people that you brought with you. It's important to plan, and you need to have a plan for when you get there. What are you going to do? Somebody needs to watch the perimeter. Somebody needs to start building some shelter. Somebody needs to look at food sources. I mean, there's so many things, so you need to make a list. And with that said, you really need to just identify the needs and prioritize the resources. Look at the group of people, family, friends, whoever you're bugging out with, and identify which skills each person has. And this is probably important to do beforehand, but if you have not, you need to know, does somebody have medical background? Are they a firefighter, a police officer, a first responder, a nurse, anything like that? They need to be, put in charge of that. Does anyone have firearms training? Whether it's just at the range or if they're ex-military, very important. Does anybody have hunting or fishing experience for your food sources? Can anyone farm or garden or compost? Do they have knowledge of any of this? Does anyone have experience raising chickens, goats, cows, any kind of livestock? Does anyone have knowledge of structural building? Survival training? Do they know how to start a fire when they don't have the proper things to easily start a fire? Do they know what berries or plants you can and cannot eat? Can they find potable water or know how to make the water potable to where it can be drank? Does somebody know how to sew or do knot tying? Even somebody that maybe is familiar with boats might know some good knots. The women, sorry women, but most men don't know how to sew. If somebody knows how to sew, they could fix different items that break, backpacks, shoes, clothing. They can erect hammocks, all kinds of things if you have the proper items in order to do so. What will you be bringing with you? As I mentioned earlier, I do have a video on what I have in my bug out bag, which I will link over here, but you also need to be prepared. Sorry, my dogs decided to interrupt. All right, last but not least, what are you going to bring with you? Now, like I mentioned earlier, I do have a YouTube video about what I have in my bug out bag, which I will link here again above. And you also need to figure out what you're going to put in your bug out vehicle, or when you leave to go to the bug out location, how are you going to get there and what can you put on or in that transportation devices you're using. So I'm just going to show you real quick If you have pets, obviously you're gonna need pet supplies. Pet food, a leash, harness, you know, whatever it is your pet needs, make sure that that stuff is ready to go. I also have a container here that I keep in the back of my car, and I've just updated it because you always want to make sure that you have what you need for that season. Sorry, my phone started ringing midst the video. I have turned it on silent now. In my car, I like to keep a container, which is my bug out vehicle. And in it is important to have supplies that maybe you can't fit on your back. So food, water, obviously, like I said, pet supplies, trauma kit. So this is what I've got. This is my trauma kit, although I would like to upgrade it. It really doesn't have everything I need. I am going to give a shout out to Bear Independent. They have the best trauma kits. Go to bearindependent.com, check them out. I think you will love them. They are above military grade and have everything you need for a major emergency situation when you are not near medical facilities or you have bugged out and medical attention is not available. Okay, so anyway, we've got the trauma kit, food. I've got 7 MREs. Now, it may seem like a lot, but I have 2 kids, so we would have to share these, and that would last us a week. Let me remove some of these so I can get to the other stuff. Obviously, you're going to need water, however you want to transport that. I just have gallons of water or those big jugs with the pour spout. But in Florida, in the winter, it's fine, but when it gets hot, I have to keep them inside the door, you know, ready to go. So, you know, you do whatever is best for you. When it comes to like water filtration, when your water runs out, if it runs out, hopefully it does not, then you want to have some kind of water filtration system. I have, oops, that's not it. Uh-oh. All right, I'm making a big mess. Hold on. I did not pack this in order for the video, obviously. Now, here it is. Okay. This is the Sawyer water filtration system. I also have a Life Straw, but this actually, I bought an extra bag so that you can actually filter water double the amount in the same amount of time. Flashlights, solar lights, anything like that. I've got these solar lights here. They are a little cumbersome, but they've got like a medium, and then like just a lower light for night if you don't want people to see your whole setup. So I've got 2 of those. Not sure where the other one went. There it is. All right. And then the flashlight that I have several. Oops. Sorry, this is going to be the, not that any of it's scripted, but the non-scripted, unorganized part of the video. I've got a little baby flashlight for just when you need to see around without being noticed. And it's also got a pull cord, a survival whistle. I won't do it any louder because I don't want to pierce your ears. And then several of the, why can't I think of what they're called? I'll come back to you on that. It just slipped my brain. But anyway, I've got a flashlight, and so as you can see, the first setting is a flashlight. Then the next setting is kind of like a taser, but it doesn't reach out. It's just a shock. So when you want to do that, you're going to just turn it over. This is by ViperTech. I'll link it below. More like a stun gun, but you don't have to touch the person. So however you want to rate that. I've got some, basically it's lighter fluid, but if it's really wet or damp and you're having trouble lighting a fire, that helps. not only to keep warm, but to cook your food. I've got several different variety of sizes of zip ties. And then I've got oh, it's coming out of the bag. I have a hammock. Oh, it's popping out here. And it's great for tying, you know, from a couple trees until you can get a valid campsite set up. And it also has some paracord attached to it. I've got a communication device, my ham radio, and I also have a weather radio that is able to plug into a USB. If you have one of those connections in your car, it also takes batteries, and if I can get this out, it's a hand crank. Very important. This also has a solar panel to charge it. This thing is really cool. I mean, you're gonna get a radio signal regardless. So I can't pronounce the name of the company, but it's an awesome weather radio, and I will link that below as well. I have about 10 heavy duty kind of like yard bags. The handy dandy trusty duct tape. Can't leave home without it. And I've got several bungee cords. I guess I could just kind of show you guys this. I've got a couple propane tanks for the camp stove. I've got a fixed blade knife, which is 6 3/4 inches. And it also comes with a handy little paracord or attachment to put on your belt. And I've got several chem lights and my camp stove in a bag, tools, hammer, I've got a wrench, I've got pliers, both kinds of screwdrivers, some other rope, fire starter, and I don't know where they went. They must have fallen out here, but in a little Ziploc I have all the attachments for my drill, and my drill I took out of the box last night because I needed to use it. It is fully charged. You want to make sure all of your stuff's fully charged to start out. You don't want to start out with dead batteries and all of your things. I about once or twice a month will put these out in the sun to make sure that they're solarly charged. And then besides the attachments to your drill, like not only drill bits, but whatever, you know, a star bit, what do they call it? 32, flathead, a square, whatever kind of screws you're bringing, make sure you have the appropriate attachments. So, and you know, just some other random tools, but that all fits in here, and it's only 15 cubic feet. It does not take up a ton of space in my car, and it makes me feel comfortable knowing that I have all these things in a quick, go-to, necessary situation. I also have a firearm. I have a Glock 19, and I have lots of ammunition. I'm not even going to discuss how much, but plenty. And I have a belly band holster that is great for women because you can conceal it. You can also hold several extra mags. And what I didn't see in here, which is probably next to my bed right at the moment because of what's happening in the world, I have a couple different kinds of pepper spray. So I feel like this is a very comprehensive, great start to anyone's bug out vehicle contents. If there's something in here you don't think you need or want, don't put it in there. That's what's great about customizing it to yourself and not buying a pre-packaged or pre-made survival bug out bag or bug out kit for your vehicle. You may not have, you may be by yourself, you may have more people, you may need more food, you may need different things. So you may not have pets, which will give you more room for other things, like maybe an extra blanket. So it's really up to you. It's very customizable, and it's very important in my opinion, and especially, like I said, with lately how the world's been going. I hope that you guys prepared, got something out of this video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and share it with anyone that you think might enjoy it. And until next time, I'll see y'all later.